Welcome to my channel. Today's story is one that no parent, teacher, or human being should ever forget. It's a story of strength and innocence crushed by neglect, manipulation, and cruelty. And behind it all is a heartbreaking truth. Sometimes the most vulnerable children slip through the cracks, not because no one saw, but because no one acted fast enough. This is the case of Zahra Claire Baker. Zahra was born on November 16, 1999, in Wagga Wagga, a small city in New South Wales, Australia. From the very beginning, her life was anything but easy. At the age of 5, she was diagnosed with bone cancer. The illness took her left leg and her hearing. Most people would have been crushed. But Zahra? She smiled through it all. She learned to walk again with a prosthetic leg. She learned to sign. She lit up every room with her courage, her laughter, and her stubborn joy. Her father, Adam Baker, was a single dad raising her after separating from Zahra's mother. In 2008, he met a woman online, Elisa Fairchild, later known as Elisa Baker. Within months, they were married. Zahra and Adam left Australia and moved to North Carolina, hoping for a fresh start. But that fresh start became a quiet nightmare. Neighbors would later say they saw Zahra only rarely. Some said they heard yelling. Others said she always looked scared. A teacher said Zahra was pulled from school and homeschooled without much explanation. There were even reports of bruises, yet no one followed through. The signs were there, but they were ignored, overlooked, or passed on like someone else's responsibility. On October 9, 2010, Elisa Baker called 911 to report a fire in the backyard. Hours later, Adam called to report Zahra missing. But here's where the story turns dark. Police arrived and found something disturbing: a ransom note. At first, they believed it was a kidnapping, but that note, it was fake, and the handwriting matched Elisa's. As the investigation intensified, so did the inconsistencies. Elisa's stories kept changing. Neighbors began talking. Zahra hadn't been seen for weeks. Some believed she'd already been dead before the fire. Days turned into weeks. Police found Zahra's remains, not in one place, but scattered across different sites. Her prosthetic leg was discovered in one location, her skull, months later, in another. The horror of it was hard to comprehend. Not just what happened to her, but what she had endured in silence before it. Elisa eventually confessed to writing the ransom note. She also led police to Zahra's remains. But her version of events kept shifting. She claimed Zahra had died accidentally, that Adam had helped, then later claimed she had disposed of the body on her own. In September 2011, Elisa Baker pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 15 to 18 years in prison. She received additional years for unrelated drug charges. Adam Baker was never charged in relation to Zahra's death. He insisted he was unaware of the abuse. Whether he was blind, in denial, or simply not present enough, the justice system believed he was not criminally responsible. But that doesn't mean he wasn't morally accountable. Elisa had a long history of deception. She faked cancer diagnoses, manipulated online relationships, and left a trail of chaos behind her long before Zahra entered her life. Yet, no background check, no red flag, stopped her from becoming the guardian of a vulnerable child. Zahra's story shattered a community. Her face, a girl with hearing aids and a prosthetic leg, always smiling, became a symbol of both unimaginable courage and a failure of the system meant to protect her. And that brings us to the heart of today's message. Detailed safety and awareness tips. 1. Never dismiss a child's drastic behavioral changes. If a cheerful or outgoing child suddenly becomes quiet, withdrawn, anxious, or fearful around certain adults, this is not just a phase. Behavioral changes are often the first signs of trauma, fear, or abuse. always take them seriously. Ask gentle, open-ended questions and notify a school counselor or authority if needed. 2. Watch for isolation disguised as homeschooling or overprotection. Children being pulled from school or activities without good reason may be victims of isolation, a tactic abusers use to avoid scrutiny. If a child suddenly disappears from public view, someone should check in. Social services, schools, or even local police can perform wellness checks if concerns are raised. 3. Look for inconsistent stories from guardians. Abusers often change their stories or provide vague explanations about injuries, absences, or living situations. If the details don't match up, that's a red flag. Repeated contradictions or confusion are often signs of deception or cover-ups. 4. Pay attention to physical red flags, even minor ones. Frequent unexplained bruises, cuts, or broken hearing aids, prosthetics, or other assistive tools should never be brushed off as accidents, especially if they occur repeatedly. Children with disabilities are particularly vulnerable and may not be able to explain what happened. 5. Believe neighbors and teachers. Then act. In Zahra's case, multiple people suspected abuse, but each one thought someone else would act. Don't fall into the trap of bystander silence. One report, even anonymous, can save a child's life. Teachers, school nurses, and neighbors are often the only eyes on a child. Their voice is critical. 6. Run background checks, especially when blending families. Before entering a relationship where children are involved, run a background check. Past behavior often predicts future harm. A history of manipulation, false identities, fraud, or restraining orders should never be ignored. If someone's record reveals predatory or violent behavior, don't put children in harm's way. 7. Teach children to speak up and keep listening. Children need to know they're allowed to say no, even to adults. Teach them the difference between secrets and surprises. Let them know they can tell you anything, even if someone threatens them. And when they do speak, stop and truly listen. Don't assume they're exaggerating. 8. Establish safe adults in a child's life. Make sure every child has at least 2 or 3 safe, trustworthy adults outside of the home they can go to. This could be a teacher, counselor, extended family member, or neighbor. Children with disabilities should especially have someone who checks in with them privately and regularly. 9. Don't rely only on the legal system to protect kids. Social services and law enforcement can only do so much without your eyes and voice. Report anything that makes you uncomfortable. Even if a case is dropped, a paper trail begins. Multiple reports from different sources build a stronger case over time. 10. Speak the child's language, including sign language and emotional cues. Zahra was deaf and used hearing aids. Children who can't speak or hear like others are often left out of adult conversations and investigations. Learn the child's communication methods. Even body language or expressions can be a loud cry for help if someone is paying attention. These tips are more than just advice. They are a call to action. Every child has the right to feel safe, heard, and loved. And every adult has the responsibility to protect that right. If a child is withdrawn, injured, or suddenly disappears from public life, ask questions. If a child's guardian has a history of lies or emotional instability, don't ignore it. Speak up. Make a report. Follow up. Trust your instincts. No neighbor, teacher, or friend should ever feel that a suspicion is too small to matter. Because here's the truth. The people who failed Zahra didn't fail from cruelty. They failed from silence, from uncertainty, from not wanting to overstep. But Zahra needed someone to overstep, someone to push harder, someone to care enough to act. To every teacher, social worker, or friend watching this, you are more powerful than you think. You are the voice for those who have none. Zahra Baker deserved a life full of love, freedom, and laughter. And while we cannot undo what happened, we can honor her by being fiercely protective of every vulnerable child around us. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and help us raise awareness, because stories like Zahra's should never happen again.